Hey there. Today I want to talk about justice. So the question is pretty simple: that what justice is, what justice stands for, and why, as a sentient being, we search for justice and coherent meaning. So I think historically, humans have always been, very fond of justice, but in the intellectual history, I think one of the most oldest uh, testament upon justice is Socratic idea upon how identity is somewhere related to justice. And the story goes like, it's a very interesting story, that there is a king who is like, he's a fascist king, and people, the entire public on which he ruled upon, they simply do not like the king. And up from those people, there is a guy who gets a magical ring, which gives him the power of invisibility. So whenever that guy wears those that magical ring, he basically becomes invisible. And this story goes from how the power uh, he holds with that ring corrupts him. And it's not just the power, it's more about the identity, that we do not care about justice when someone is not watching. And that is a very interesting very interesting concept, because in the story, it it explained the story explained itself, as it ends, as the the guy who has the ring uses the same ring to basically do every wrong thing you could imagine. He goes and he, like, does very horrific things. He kills the kings. He kills the king, and basically he puts himself at the place of the king. And instead of improving or revolutionizing the system, he becomes the same dictator, the same fascist ruler the the predecessor was. And matlab, um, the interesting part in this story is that it's not the person which was bad, it's the power. So Socrates argued that power, any level of power, also has uh, tendency of corrupting the holder of that power. So, and from here, Plato writes upon justice, that what justice is, because this story is not just about uh, it's not just about power, it's also about justice, that how to bring upon, like, if the holder of power, if the beholder of power is corrupt himself, then what can the society do to ensure there will be a just place, there will be justice thriving in the society. And Plato here argues that To make a just world, just society, we have to ask ourselves that what constitutes this just a society, this fair and a society, a place filled with justice, ideal place, basically. And he argues that Plato argues that a justice, a place of justice or a just place is a place where everybody does what they're supposed to do. And this is somewhat vague, but Plato also tells, with his theory of, you know, theory of forms. Basically, Plato used to, insert his theory of forms everywhere. So he uses that analogy to explain that there is a just world where everybody is doing what they're supposed to do, and to make that kind of um, a world where everybody is doing what they're supposed to do, you have to cut down the power of the authorities. And that is very paradoxical, because everybody will be doing what they're supposed to do, because there must be an authority, because there must be an um, uh, a decision maker or judge to check up on them. Because the story of Socrates, the story of that ring, it it the story itself explains that how people become evil. Evil, gets created when the judge, when the observer is absent, when the identity is not at threat. And Plato, by that explanation, extrapolates that a society will only be just when there is no authority, when there is no judge, when there is no observer, which is very paradoxical, because it undermines the axiom it has created itself. So basically, what I want to say, and what, like, hundreds of years of these paperworks have said, is it is as impossible as creating a just world. It is as impossible to create a just world as impossible it is uh, to imagine one. And this is the beauty of justice, because from this, and with very a lot of modern and psychological paperworks, and sorry, um, neuroscientific paperworks and researches, we have realized that there are basically types of justice systems. There are two different ways to achieve a place of harmony, a place of justice. And those two are completely, they are um, exclusive of each other. Because the first way, the oldest way, is the biblical justice system, where which is basically eye for an eye. You know, in this kind of system, if let's suppose I kill your mother, so this, according to this theory, according to this system, you can come and kill my mother, and then we'll be equal. Then we'll be at equality, at equilibrium. And it is a very violent kind of justice system, obviously, but the problems comes when when you cannot quantify the amount of wrongdoing that has been done. And that is one of the biggest problem with justice, that you cannot quantify bad or good. That whether slapping a woman is more bad than to kick a man, or whether feeding a feeding a hungry man is more good, more virtuous than helping a poor kid. You cannot quantify the two. And if you can't quantify, you cannot compare. And if you can't compare, you cannot decide, you cannot come upon a decision whether uh, justice has been served in this kind of system or not. And the second system of justice is what we follow. It's a very democratic way of justice, where which is like lawful justice, where law is the primary concern of justice, that whether a society is following the given set of rules or not. So the system is, we live in this kind of system. But the problem with the system is, if you think very closely, if you observe very closely, you will realize that it is not about bringing justice with the victim. It's about ensuring that the wrongdoing that has been done shall not be repeated in whatsoever case. And to make sure that this happens, we we put punishments. There is a democratic way of giving punishment to the criminals, which is hilarious if you think about it. Because let's suppose you have killed my mother, and there is a court which quantifies your wrongdoing. So rather than bringing justice to me, bringing my mother back, or uh, letting me have the revenge upon you, the law will make sure that you go through such punishment that a person who is planning to kill someone's mother will be shattered, will be trembled by the punishment. So the concern is never about the victim. It's not about what I think, what I feel, how my life will be improved by the intervene of court, by the intervene of law. It is just about to ensure that the wrongdoing shall not be repeated by the that person or some other person of the society. And it's like a very optimistic way also, because it believes that the people are intrinsically good, and people want to you know live a happy life, live a virtuous life. So it somewhere it believes, like a lawful justice system, this kind of system believes that people want to not kill someone. People want to have a good life. People want to make virtuous decisions. But there are some abnormalities, some uh, there's some abnormalities in some specific people who are intrinsically bad. And if you remove those kind of people, those kind of like a psychopathic people, like if you remove such psychopathic people from the society, the system will be clean. And that is a very I think that is a very wrong um, uh, preposition to believe, because I don't think that people are intrinsically good. And and even if I can't argue upon it, there is a there is a there is a existence of doubt for sure. So the question comes back to the starting point, that what is justice then? What should be the most effective way to ensure justice? And there is no simple answer, there is no one answer, there's no ultimate way of seeking justice. But I believe that how matlab, this might the biblical justice system may sound very harsh, but I think it is more concerned with the justice than what the, the system of law, the system of democratic laws are offering us. And it is very wild to believe that killings, that taking eye for an eye will bring justice, but at least it will nullify the wrongdoing. because because tigers are not criminals, because uh, tigers or lions are not criminals, because every lion kills a deer.